Shalini Bharadwaj. You all are watching ITV Networks Medically Speaking. If you wanted to update yourself related to COVID-19 news as well as the news which is related to health sector, then you can visit our website, that is medicallyspeaking.in. So today we are going to discuss that what exactly went wrong that has left India vulnerable to COVID-19 second wave with multiple new mutations. We have with us Dr. Neeta Radhakrishnan, who is HOD Pediatric Hematology, Oncology, Child PGI Noida. We have with us Dr. Shuchin Bajaj, who is a founder as well as director of Ujala Cygnus Hospitals. We have with us Dr. Avinash Bhondwe, who is a former president of Maharashtra Indian Medical Association. Welcome all to Medically Speaking. My first question goes to Dr. Shuchin. Sir, what exactly went wrong that has left India vulnerable to COVID-19 second wave with multiple mutations?
See, till about February, we were all congratulating ourselves and patting our backs that we were the only country amongst the top 5 affected countries that had not seen a second wave.
Because numbers were, again and again, numbers were declining, and not only India, other countries were also surprised that why so much, numbers are declining in India.
Yeah, so we were attributing it to either natural immunity, or the WHO, in fact, wrote out a paper saying it was due to the mask behavior of Indians and how the government was enforcing monetary penalties for not wearing masks, and that was the reason. We had said at that time also that it was clearly not the correct way to think, because we work in hinterlands, we work in rural areas, semi-rural areas. We saw that there was nobody wearing masks there. Nobody was wearing masks at any election rallies or celebrations or the farmers movement. So I think it was just the virus behavior that has been seen over and over again in various countries. It has come down and then come back viciously as form of a second wave. And this is exactly what happened 1 century ago with the Spanish flu as well. The second wave was much deadlier and much wider in scope. Unfortunately, although we knew that this is the behavior, we knew that this was happening in the Western countries, we were about 3 to 4 months behind them. But I think we did not take it seriously enough. We did not really realize that it would affect us as well. We just went about merrily attending weddings and parties. And now it has come back with a vengeance. It's like a tsunami now. It's no longer a wave. The numbers are shooting up rapidly, and we are seeing so many mutant variants of concern that I think it's going to be a tough few months ahead of us.
Definitely, sir, that we can see. Dr. Bhondwe, sir, what are the mistakes to blame for India's latest COVID crisis?
As Dr. Bajaj rightly said, right in the month of December and January, all the people, including Government of India, barring all the doctors, were rather thinking that this corona wave has come down and almost the corona is gone. But in a way, in the month of November and December, we were expecting a second wave that time. Fortunately, that time the numbers came down. But in the month of November, in the Great Britain, it was found that there was a new strain, and there were a lot of patients who were rather affected rapidly. It was 30 times higher than the previous virus. And they did immediate genome sequencing and found out that there is a new mutant. And immediately all the measures were that time only we were rather asking government to take great precautions. The flights from the Great Britain were rather stopped, but the genome sequencing was advised of all those who came from Britain. It was not done in full capacity. A few hundred were examined, but there was more than that. The people, rather the tourists, arrived from Great Britain. At the same time, we got these strains from Brazil and South Africa. And after that, very few samples were tested, and it was declared that in Amravati, the new strain from Great Britain was found. So it was quite clear. Till the end of January, the numbers were coming down, but it never touched the baseline. So it was clear that the second wave is bound to come in few days. And it happened from the month of February. The numbers started rising again. This upsurge was so rapid, was so speedy, that that time we really rather inform government, inform all the people that this is the speed with which the numbers are increasing is not. That time the government was saying that it is because of the people are not using the COVID appropriate behavior and all the these preventive measures, and that was not there. That time these COVID appropriate behavior was not there in India right in the month of September, October, or till January, or even today. So that was not the main reason. Since the numbers were increasing more in Maharashtra and Kerala, so it was quite clear that there must be some COVID strain or mutant which has rather, you can say, born in Maharashtra or Kerala, and which was again, it was ignored. Even the government of Maharashtra declined that this is not the second wave. Even publicly, it was announced that there are no mutants. Only few mutants are there. So the early preventive measures, which was rather advised, this came out on the 25th of March. That was when even the previous year's highest point, or the peak point, was crossed. Which was rather 23,000, and it was around 40,000 or something like that when it was announced that there are two mutants which are double mutants in Maharashtra. That time it was said that 18 to 20% people are involved, but today, if you see around with the latest report, around 61% of Maharashtra people are rather affected with this new mutant. So all these things were rather, had it been properly taken, all the precautions in the month of February itself, especially the contact tracing, which was not done, which was advised that 20 to 30 patients should be traced per patient, which is still never reached. It is up to 5 only. Because of that time, all these new infected people were mostly asymptomatic or very mild symptomatic. So most of them, and they were from the age group of 20 to 45, which was a new domain. And that time they were not properly traced. So many of them were positive, were not diagnosed. So they were spreading infection like carriers of the disease. And they were people from the earning group. They were traveling for their businesses, for their professions, for their work. And they were spreading the disease. They were traveling in these local trains, buses, and all that. So that was the main reason when these new mutants spread like anything, and it took fire. Just like Dr. Bajaj said, it's not a second wave; it's a tsunami. It's definitely the way it is. The upsurge is seen. You just can't say it is a second wave. Secondly, about the vaccination also, when it began in the month of January. It was so slow that at some places there were very few centers which were open. Then there were at some places only the 4 days a week, at some places 3 days a week. And that's why so many so many doctors and health workers avoided taking it because of their work. Even the government never came out with an open statement that this vaccine is safe. If it came from officially, it was never announced that this is safe. So many doctors had all the problems that whether it will create some very serious side effects, and whether it will be definitely useful, or how much percentage it will rather give protection. All these things were discussed, and it was expected that some new vaccines will be coming which are better, and all these things. So because of right from the beginning, the vaccination drive was very less. That is one thing.
Slow.
We'll talk about that, the mistakes in the vaccination drive later on. But these were the things in which the government never planned all these things. even the planning of the hospital beds, all these in Maharashtra, all those COVID centers or the jumbo COVID centers, where 500 to 1,000 people used to be accommodated. They were closed. All the doctors were sent back. They were relieved from their work. They were taken on the contract basis. They were relieved. So many times at so many hospitals were also the percentage from 80% to the rather reduced to 50% or even less than that. So things were like that, there was no planning. There was no expectation. They were not rather judging the future events, which rather the vision definitely was lacking. And all these, when the numbers started increasing, they never accepted it is a second wave, it is a mutant wave. So everybody was taken aback with the speed and all that. And right now, you can say the healthcare system in the state of Maharashtra is totally collapsed. There is absolutely no place even for the simple isolation beds or even the oxygen beds, and ventilators and ICU are really out of question. Absolutely, there is no place anywhere in for the ICU beds and ventilator beds. Very few places, after waiting so long, the people are getting oxygen beds, but even they are
There
not
is a
getting
waiting of 8 hours.
the injection. Even the injections injection remdesivir is not available. That is because it was not planned as per whatever the demand, which is rather they should have foresee the event and should have made the proper stock. It was not done. It is a clear-cut thing that around 5% of the infected people may require remdesivir. So if they are 50,000 per day, you'll require in that much amount. So that was not planned, and that's why this remdesivir is in shortage. That for the same reason, the oxygen is in shortage. And even the worst thing, at many places, including Pune, where I stay, the crematorium are not. Other people are have to wait for hours together to perform the last rites of their relatives. So this is the thing. Everywhere, the lack of vision, lack of planning, and lack of rather listening to the experts or those who have been studying all these pandemics.
It is an explosive situation everywhere. Dr.
Yeah.
Neeta, ma'am, how children are getting affected, especially if we talk about the children who already have the diseases like cancer? How they are fighting with this particular, because their immunity level is very low. How it is affecting these children?
So globally, there has been a big concern from the beginning of the COVID pandemic, as to how this infection is going to affect immunocompromised patients. So in many situations, it was found that cancer patients are more susceptible and cancer patients die of the infection more. But then later on, once we started seeing cases, overall mortality was much more higher in adult cancer patients than in children. And we found that in pediatric population, at least children with cancer, the mortality was not, it is definitely higher than a normal population, but it is not very high either. But one couple of reasons for this. One is that cancer patients, anyway, we keep them isolated. They're anyway wearing masks. Their family anyway knows the importance of hand hygiene and protection and not going out to crowded places. So these things have been there even before the pandemic started. So in a way, these children were protected much more. But I agree with the previous two speakers that this time there has been a lot of laxity among us as a community. We have become very, and I don't know how governments can implement it. It's putting a challan for not wearing a mask, that will never be the solution. The solution has to come from all of us. We have to decide as a group that we will wear masks till the time our immunity levels are at a level which is good enough to tackle infection. So till the time that doesn't happen, these children, all of us, including cancer children, are going to be highly susceptible to the disease.
Dr. Suchin, sir, we are talking about Maharashtra and Mumbai, but if we talk about Delhi itself, breaking all the barriers in April, how Delhi became COVID-19 hotspot, which is overtaking Mumbai right now?
Yeah, so Delhi, the last wave also was at number one. Unfortunately, we usually are number ones in all the unwanted things like pollution, and our rivers are the dirtiest, and we have been number one in COVID as well. I think the point that Dr. Avinash also made about the variants of concern not being tracked at all, the government's not being serious at all about sequencing them and identifying the variants. The B1617, as was talked about, the double mutant virus that had been detected in Maharashtra and was
Sir,
responsible
are
for
we doing enough genome sequencing in Delhi itself?
Yes, that's. I think that's a matter of concern. We are not doing enough. Clearly, we don't even know what the variants are in Delhi right now. There has been no communication from the government. The government has not made that data public. The double mutant has been shown to be hugely prevalent in Maharashtra. The numbers vary from 20% to 60%, according to some statistics. The UK variant is clearly ruling the roost in North, with almost accounting for almost 80%
In
of
Punjab
the cases.
itself,
in Punjab
there
right
are a lot
now.
of cases of UK variant, and today in Jharkhand also there are few cases which has been reported as double mutant cases.
Yes, of course, and not just cases. I mean, 80% of all the infections right now in Punjab are the UK variant. So it's quite the double mutant, especially, has been known to exhibit vaccine resistance as well as immune shift as well. So I think that is a variant that is of the most concern to us right now. Unfortunately, we are not doing enough to identify it and contain it. And as has been pointed out, there has been no efforts at contact tracing now. The governments have clearly given up. There are no more, identification of contacts, no more identification of the sources. It is, I don't know if the government wants to say it or not, but I think it is clearly a case of community spread now. And we need to really buckle ourselves up. We really need to get this fight onto a completely new level, because we are completely swarmed at this time, overwhelmed. We don't have beds available. We don't have oxygen. We don't have remdesivir. We don't have tocilizumab. Plasma banks are completely overrun by patients and their attendants, crying aloud because there are no donors available as
Yes,
well.
people are not getting plasma.
Yes, the situation is very grim. I think through your channel, I think you need to get this message out that we should become very serious about this. There are still many people who are going out, partying, going to religious congregations. I think we all need to understand that unless and until it's very important, we should all stay in, because this virus is affecting the younger people as well, children as well. In some of our hospitals, we've seen 10-month-old babies going on ventilatory support due to COVID, which was unheard of in the last wave. And this is very infectious. In the last wave, when one person was positive in the house, usually the elderlies would be susceptible, one or two others would become positive. The youngsters, even if they were positive, would be completely asymptomatic, and the children would not even be tested because they had no symptoms at all. But now everyone in the house is becoming positive with just one patient, and the children are showing really severe symptoms in some cases, but at least symptoms equal to adults in all other cases. So it is quite a grim situation, and I think you need to give this message out that people should now exhibit voluntary restraint, exhibit voluntarily COVID positive behavior. As Dr. Neeta also said, this will not work with governments putting monetary fines and challans on you. This has to come from within all of us.
That's important, sir.
If I may add two things. One is children should remain indoors. This is a message that should go out. Although schools are not opening, which is good, but still we are sending children, people are sending children out to play, they are taking children to malls. All that has to stop. Even if there is no lockdown, they have to understand that children need to stay indoors. And second is, after vaccination, you get a kind of confidence, which is not correct at all. This double mutant variant has vaccine escape. So it will still infect and continue to cause disease in patients, in people who have received both doses of vaccine also. So since we have on a vaccination drive and a lot of people are getting vaccination now, people should not feel confident that now that I'm vaccinated, I don't need a mask. So that is not that we are not at that stage and right now.
Definitely.
Shalini,
because
I would like to add one. Yeah, I would like to add one more thing to Dr. Neeta, that the main reason of children getting infected, even if they do not go outside to play or work, the adults in the family, when they go out for work and this thing, they are, as I told you, they were asymptomatic and positive but not diagnosed. When they came home, they infect the children. They pass on the infection to the children. Basically, if you remember last time in last wave, it was we were told that whenever who is coming from the work should keep their shoes outside, take a complete good bath, change their clothes, and then mix in the family. So these things people have forgotten, and that is one of the things which is rather causing that. No, that is really a necessary thing which we have forgotten, even to tell the people. That is one of the reasons that we are passing the infection to the children.
that's important. Social vaccine is important. Dr. Prachi, ma'am, I would like to know that how Sputnik is different from Covishield vaccine, because people want to know. There's a lot of confusion. What composition it has exactly?
Ma'am, basically all these vaccines are basically aimed at different components of the virus that are responsible for giving the immunity to the body. So basically some vaccines use mRNA, some vaccines use the whole protein, some use the spike protein. So in the case of Sputnik, it is a Russian vaccine which is roughly 91.6% efficacy, and it is a little different from Covishield, which is from the spike protein. So in this, different component is being used, but the efficacy has been kind of 90% efficacy has been seen in against symptomatic COVID-19 patients.
Definitely. And
Just adding to that,
yes,
so, this is again a vector vaccine. So just like Covishield is a vector, this is also a vector vaccine. The similarities end here though, whereas Covishield uses a chimpanzee adenovirus. In this, the Sputnik is unique in a sense that it uses two different vectors for their two doses. So both of them are human adenoviruses, but the first dose uses human adenovirus 26 variant, whereas the second one uses the human adeno 5 variant. This is a unique technology in itself, and but of course, as Dr. Prachi said, the efficacy is quite high, 91.6%. So I think it's really a sign of hope for us if this vaccine comes into play as well, and they are projecting about 1 crore doses a month as well of this. That can be the capacity in India. So I think it will help us a lot once this also starts going.
Dr.
And duration,
Bondre, sir,
yeah,
what we
duration-
expect in coming months? What do you think? What is going to happen?
about this
COVID-19.
pandemic or vaccination?
About pandemic, the
Yeah.
way cases are inclining, what we expect?
It is like that. We have to remember that hope for the best and prepare for the worst. We have to prepare for the worst because anyway, we do not have any drug which will rather cure this coronavirus. We do not have 100% effective vaccine, and it is not possible to rather immunize people the way the vaccination drive is going on. It will take another 6 to 8 years with this speed. So that vaccination, once somebody gets vaccinated, to achieve the herd immunity in India, we have to immunize at least 70%, that is 91 crore people in all over Maharashtra, which is not being seen in 1 year, because at the end of 1 year will be rather the first year dose, all those will be rather, they will need a second booster dose. That's what being discussed. So from immunity side, there is no this thing. And the third more important thing, that the precautions which the government has to take is not sufficient. I'm not talking only about Maharashtra. I've been in touch in many states in India. Everywhere the situation is same. The preparations are there, but they will not be sufficient. The things in Maharashtra which we are being told that even the death rate is going high. After 2 or 3 months, we will be having around more than 80,000 patients per day and 1,000 deaths per day. So that will be really a grim situation. The things, if the government is rather trying to increase the COVID care centers and the COVID hospitals, the COVID jumbo COVID centers and all other things where the beds and other things can be arranged. But the main problem that which was neglected right from the beginning, right from the our freedom when India freed, that the number of doctors are very less in India. You can have beds, you can have ventilators, you can arrange so many things in infrastructure, but what about the doctors? There are not sufficient doctors to look after the additional load which will be which is expected in near future. And that is the main thing where we will all listen, that if a patient gets infected, there will not be any bed available. He has to stay home. The home quarantine or the home isolation will be the more keyword right now at many places in Pune and in Mumbai and in Maharashtra, that people are many people are are in home isolation. If they require oxygen, they can buy oxygen, they can use the oxygen concentrator. Many of them are using. If they are advised to take remdesivir injection, then they go to the hospital. There they are given remdesivir on OPD basis. They stay there for 2 hours and go back. So such practical things have to be are needed to be done. It should be done properly with good policies and good instructions. So
That's important,
this is really, this is really a very bad thing. The main thing right from the beginning, the people are not given proper information. There is no proper awareness. The main thing that people are not having the COVID appropriate behavior, not using masks, because they are not convinced, they are not told about all these things. On one side, this is the thing. On other side, there are some communal interests which are preventing people to use masks and to do all these things, even taking vaccines. So these things we have to observe. Because and one more thing, all the social people, rather you can.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.